First Look.
And welcome along to the official chart First Look with Lauren and Shaniqua. I want to say hey to Patrick, who's in Chicago, and said it's just turned noon and currently at work in his comic book store. And the chart is his soundtrack. That is so cool, working at a comic book store. I feel like I only see them in films. I've never actually seen a real one, I think.
That would be a very cool job, wouldn't it? Like, you're right, yeah. Also, I feel like it's very American.
Yes.
To have a comic book store. You don't get them in the UK enough, do you?
Comic books.
Very cool.
This is a message brought to you by Patrick from Challengers Comics. It's pretty good.
In the Midwest, you know the best is there waiting, so come and join the conversation. Highs to approved, fan and artist and creator too. This is how the challengers do. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. It's hard and it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From
Challengers Comics in Chicago.
This is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with
Patrick Brower.
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 Here's Patrick.
I am less prepared to do this episode than I was last week's. And once again, it is a solo Patrick episode. And this time I am not armed with a slew of questions. I do have a few, and there are a few brief topics, but as it has been an incredibly busy week for me personally, I have not had the time to research these topics fully. And in fact, credit goes to David Harper for always being the first to let me know what's going on, mainly because he's texting to ask what I thought of said news, and each time I have to say, I don't know what this news is. For example, last week it was the Marvel Midnight announcement, because we had been talking about Marvel because of his recent excellent piece of How Can You Fix Marvel Comics, and he had interviewed a bunch of people in the industry, from creators to retailers to other people, and each person would offer a suggestion, and then David would do a deeper dive into it. That, like most things, are available on his website, sketched.com. That's sketched without the vowels, so it's SKTCHD.com. And I have been a subscriber to his content for years, and also a Patreon to his podcast as well, because he is one of the few remaining dedicated people doing comics journalism, if you will. And you should, because it's a rare thing nowadays. And it's not a site that hypes press releases or just spews the same company line that they're given by the companies. He's, in fact, writing about things he cares about and talking to people he wants to talk to. So you have to admire somebody who does it themselves their whole way and doesn't take sponsorships. You'll never hear him talking about Manscaped. I mean, he does. He does take... people do advertise on his podcast. That's definitely a thing. But, you know, it's people that work within the comics industry or publishers or whatnot. Not erectile dysfunction pills or grooming devices for men. You know, the standard. If I listen to more podcasts, I'm sure I would know what the current sponsorship trends are, but I always go back to Blue Chew and Manscaped and the things that I would hear about all the time, sometimes even on this very podcast. But news of the week that I noticed that when I do start a new sentence, I will get a lot louder. And I noticed that especially editing last week. I don't do that so much when I'm in conversation with someone, but when it's just me, I feel like I unintentionally amplify when I'm starting something new. But news for this week, or last week, I guess, would have been Dan Buckley leaving Marvel after 20 plus something years, and the new people who are taking over Marvel, and by Marvel I mean all aspects, not just publishing. It's people I don't know, people who have come from different parts of Marvel, what have you. Apparently Dan Buckley is choosing to leave, or, whatever, taking a buyout or whatever they say when they're telling someone they're most likely about to be fired, but they could step down graciously on their own to own the narrative. I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'm not looking it up. I don't care. No matter what you read, it's either Dan Buckley did everything right and was a genius and will be missed, or Dan Buckley was the devil and did everything wrong and good riddance. I have no opinion either way. I've never met Dan Buckley. I don't know exactly what Dan Buckley did. I'm sure he earned his keep there in some capacity or another. And yes, I'm just trying to be even-keeled and not say anything either way, because I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. What does this mean for Marvel? I have no idea. Whatever changes they make, everything that they're doing right now has already been in the works for a minute or what have you, so it's not as if they immediately have new initiatives or designs or whatever. I can tell you that, like most people, I was underwhelmed by the announcement of Marvel Midnight, where they're really making it like a... People keep comparing it to DC's Absolute line, but I don't think that that's an accurate comparison at all. This just seems to me to be like a what-if horror line, reimagining, but specifically horror and horror-themed. And I think it's short-sighted that their tagline for Midnight is, "The light had its turn," and the first thing we're getting is the X-Men as vampires when, A, the X-Men have a long history with Dracula and vampires. Just look at Jubilee, who I guess isn't a vampire anymore, but was for many years. But more specifically, just last year, wasn't Blood Hunt last year, where the sun was blotted out, vampires ruled the earth, the first vampire came back and took over, and major characters became vampires for a significant amount of time. For example, Miles Morales, who I'm assuming is not a vampire anymore. But Blood Hunt plunged the entire Marvel Universe into darkness for, 3 or 4 months last summer. So for the tagline to be, "The light had its turn," no, darkness just had its turn last year with vampires, with everybody being vampires. So making the Marvel Universe vampires, it's not that big of a deal. DC did it to a much... Look, I haven't read this. I don't know. But when DC did DC vs. Vampires, that title told you exactly what the book was, and the book delivered, giving us what we wanted with the DC Universe fighting vampires and becoming vampires. And yes, it was a separate, like an Elseworlds kind of thing, if you will, Black Label or whatever. I don't know. It wasn't specifically called Elseworlds, was it? I don't know. Anyway, it was super fun, and I enjoyed it and read it on its own. And they weren't pretending that they were reinventing the wheel and filling it with all sorts of hyperbole. And yeah, they milked it for a while. They did a couple of spin-offs and one-shots and a second series. And, when something works, they're doing it again, like Dark Knights of Steel 2. And that was a fun book as well. The virtually Arthurian DC universe. And there's room for all that kind of stuff. But you have to treat it as a small part of the whole, not this massive line-wide initiative. Even the Absolute Universe, which is obviously doing amazingly well for the DC's publishing arm, sales are incredible across the board. Ups and downs, your lower tiers versus your highest tiers, but this week's Absolute Green Arrow sold very, very well, and we went very heavy into it, so we still have a bunch. But it's only been out for a day and a half as I'm recording this. Will we sell out of issue 1? Yeah, probably. We sell out of everything Absolute related. It's funny when you pull off issues off of the new this week wall and put them on the regular shelf. Nowadays, we're really ordering insane amounts of Absolute Batman. And then when we take them off the new release wall, there's still a big chunk. But within a few months, there'll be a second print and we'll need it. It's just such a weird time. Man, our lunar shipment that's arriving tomorrow is massive. And I can't even point to a specific book and say, oh yeah, it's Absolute Green Arrow #1. No, that was this week, and we have significantly more boxes. In fact, we have not quite 50% more boxes coming this week from Lunar than last week, and last week included Absolute Green Arrow #1. And those numbers aren't reorder boxes; those come separately. Those are also coming tomorrow, but that's a separate shipment and doesn't include new stuff. And yeah, last week's Lunar order, which was big, included Absolute Green Arrow. It also included Dungeon Crawler Carl's graphic novel with 2 different covers and a large quantity of each of those. This week there is Absolute Wonder Woman, and then the final issue of the Jim Lee Jeff Loeb Batman, but that doesn't even compare to the Matt Fraction Jorge Jimenez Batman numbers. So yeah, it's just a big week. And imagine if, or when, hopefully when, Lunar has Viz books as well, because those all come in separate from Simon & Schuster for us, and that we're also getting Simon & Schuster tomorrow. Tomorrow, because next week is a holiday week, Memorial Day, Penguin Random House got delivered today, but our Penguin Random House orders just seem to be getting smaller and smaller. I mean, they have the same number of publishers. They'll be gaining Oni in a few months, but that's not, so that'll take away some product from Lunar and make PRH a little bit bigger. But also it's been announced that Universal has acquired Image. Image is no longer exclusive to Lunar. You can get them from Lunar or from Universal, and I guess from Universal you can also get PRH titles, but I can tell you as of right now, we have no plans to change what we're doing or who we're getting our books from. We will continue with mainly PRH and Lunar, and then Simon & Schuster and Scholastic and everybody else for the smaller publishers and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to tomorrow. These have been a long couple of weeks, and there's just so much work to be done, and then it immediately starts over. And it kind of melts together in how it starts over. For example, yesterday, which is, I guess technically, if you want to look at a week of comics work, like a fiscal year, I guess the week starts over for us Wednesday morning. Because once the new books go on sale, that's it. That's the end of that week's prep. Because those books are out, subscriber books are pulled, invoices have been logged in, mail order invoices have been sent out, quantities have been updated, everything is set. And so we immediately start working on the next week. It's a soft start because depending on if I'm working from home or working at the store Monday and Tuesday, I already start the process for next week's books. For example, if you go to challengerscomics.com, it used to be Wednesday afternoon by about 2 or so, I would have next week's new releases up on the page. But lately that information has been getting to us earlier, so I've been getting it out earlier, as early as Monday sometimes, so like a week and a half. So usually before the current week's books are actually, I'm going to take a drink, hold on. Before this week's books are actually physically on sale, the list of what's new next week is already up on the website. It's not the most intuitive of places, but if you go to challengerscomics.com, you have 2 options. One, across the taskbar or the scroll bar, whatever, the tabs across the top. The second to last one is called Info, and that is where the most other information is contained. The very first heading is Upcoming Releases. Then there's Events, Podcast, About Us, Subscription Service, FAQ, Mailing List, Picking Up, Shipping, Privacy Policy, Terms of Service, blah, blah. Each one is very much what it says it is, but Upcoming Releases is the first one. You want to click that. and that is the one that gives you the blocks for each week. The very top one, upcoming releases for May 27th, 2026. And the header image is an Alex Ross Doom painting for Doom Quest #1. Click that, it'll get you to what you want. Click the text block or the photo. Both of them will take you right to the upcoming releases for May 27th. Or if you're on the homepage and across the top there's the banner images, right now the header is Crossover Comics. Then you click that, it gives you Challenger's Choice, which is Absolute Reno #1. Click that, it gives you 18 Years of Challengers, which is not a clickable thing. And then the next one is back to the top. So there's just 3 slides across the top. The section underneath it is new this week, which is this week's new comics that are available for sale on the website. It resets every Tuesday at noon. I'm sorry, every Thursday. Every Thursday at noon is when it resets to the current week. Directly below that is new next week, which is a different link to the same information we just talked about, featuring Doomquest #1 and a small write-up of what's coming. So you can get that same information from multiple places. And then underneath that is a spotlight section, which highlights the graphic novels we have on our front table, for the most part, give or take a couple of changes here or there for spacing issues or availability. And then a bunch of different sections, like highlighting Compact Comics, highlighting our shelf sponsorships, the back issue blind boxes. Then it's shot by collections, and what collections are is just category headings. Basically genres for the most part. For us, we've got superhero, sci-fi fantasy, crime and mystery, drama. Interesting choice for drama. Drama also counts action. Action and adventure get mixed in with drama because we do not have enough books for those to be their own section. So action, adventure, drama, horror, humor, manga, all ages, young adult, art, reference, and prose, sale items, like out loud, LGBTQIA+, then Marvel single issues, DC single issues, Image single issues, everybody else single issues with a Godzilla image that should be changed. Supplies, toys. And then more stuff is to scroll down, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the whole point of this is to get you to the new next week or upcoming releases, 2 different ways to say the exact same thing. So that list is usually up on our website by Wednesday when the current week's books are on sale. You can also see what's coming out next week. And to make matters even more confusing, I have already started working on what comes out the week after that. So right now, my headspace is on June 3rd releases. So 2 weeks away. And that is why I'm constantly confused about when a book has come out, because I never remember if it's something that I put on the shelf this week, or I put on the site this week, or I broke down in categories this week for 2 weeks from now. So that's just a me thing. Patrick, I'm always confused by when a book actually came out because I'm juggling 3 weeks worth of releases in my head at the same time, and they all mush together. But that's a soft launch of things we do for the new week. Wednesday is when we really start breaking down invoices for shipments. And again, it's 2 weeks in advance. So yesterday, I did the invoice downloads, right? Technically the pre-delivery report downloads. That's what they're called from Penguin Random House. And broke them up for easy check-in when those boxes come in sometime a week from now. We've got a dedicated one for graphic novel product and then the single issue product. That is because that stuff is 2 separate shipments from PRH. From Lunar, it is not. Lunar, it is 1 shipment. And Lunar, we don't usually break down a check-in sheet because their inbox pick tickets are enough to go off of, and they're easily done and more detailed and easier to decipher than PRH's is. For us, it's easier to have a PRH check-in sheet we make for ourselves. So there is currently a PRH check-in sheet for this week that Molly and Kate are using right this second. I assume it's at some point today, to check in today next week's products, and then I've already made one for whoever has a check-in PRH a week from now for books that come out 2 weeks. And then tomorrow we'll be checking in the lunar shipment for this week, which, as I already mentioned, is inexplicably massive. And also the Simon & Schuster stuff for next week release. And then dealing with the lunar reorder. And there's always straggler boxes of PRH trades. The PRH trades always come in at a different point. They might not come in until Monday. They won't come in this Monday, though, because it's a holiday. Thankfully, everything is coming in before Monday. I am not as adept at doing these things as Dal is to be able to handle PRH or lunar or both on a Monday. I need the Mondays to get everything normally done that he does normally, because I'm not fast at it yet. It's only been a few weeks. I'm learning it, but lucky for you, we're going to go over some of that stuff in just a minute. But in the meantime, there are a few questions that people have submitted for me to go over. Heidi wants to know what is the best and worst parts of the week. And I'm real bad at answering absolute questions. I don't know that I can tell you the best and the worst, but I will tell you a good and a not as good. And the good kind of hit this week. It's still a ton of work, but once the new release wall is set, and right when I'm taking the pictures for the social media posts and then doing the video of the new releases, looking at that wall, which is 168 normal size comic spaces that we have to deal with for the week's new product. And it's everything for the week except for posters or comic boxes, because they obviously don't fit on a comic shelf, but they also are in that right area. We just put them right there anyway. This week we had DoomQuest boxes and Queen in Black boxes. And by boxes, I mean half-size comic boxes that are decorated. Marvel is very proficient, and they do 2 boxes a month, 2 different designs every month. We would love, love, love for DC to start doing boxes again. They haven't done them in years, and when they did, they were a little bit more expensive. But yeah, we would just love some regular. We don't even need. I wish Marvel wouldn't do 2 properties a month. I wish they would just do some classic, repeatable boxes and just do a Spider-Man design. Don't have it be Spider-Versity and have it tie into a book and literally be a cover from a book this month. Just do a classic Spider-Man box and have it available for us to reorder over and over and over again. That would be great, especially if DC could do that as well. Somebody get on that. Hell, at this point, if they did Invincible boxes or Battle Beast boxes or, I was going to say Exquisite Corpses boxes. I don't know about that. I don't know how many World Tree boxes we would sell, I like the idea. I don't know if it's a thing people would flock to make it affordable. Boom did Something's Killing the Children boxes and some Berserker boxes once or twice, but I'll be honest, the quality with those wasn't the best. There were big cracks in the seams when you built the boxes, and it cracked the image as well. My beverage is empty, and that is a sad thing for me, because I do not want to stop to get up and get more. I don't want to do that to you, listener. So know and appreciate my sacrifice. So anyway, when I look at the wall once it's done, it's kind of amazing and rewarding at the same time, because it's literally the culmination of the week's worth of work to get it out there. And the amount of math that is involved with placing the books. And Dow has specific patterns that he uses when he's doing the wall. And it all depends on, how many new trades there are this week, or are there catalogs out. We're pretty lucky that we always save. We never get run out of DC or Marvel catalogs. And especially now that the DC catalogs come at a different week than everybody else's catalogs. For example, next week we get Marvel, Dark Horse, and IDW catalogs, not DC. We'll get DC a week or a week or 2 later. In fact, I don't think it's the week after. Yeah, it's not on the 3rd. Huh. which gives us less time to sell their books. But anyway, so we keep older catalogs to use as space fillers toward the end when we need it. And the last 2 weeks, the amount of graphic novels that have come out have made it easier just to run them straight across the top, because there's basically 4 shelves worth of trades or graphic novels, and that fits great. Doing it down the first section would mean you'd start the new release single issue comics on the bottom 2 racks, and I think that gets to be a little confusing at points. But again, it depends on the sizes. And when we make the list of check-in books, we also make a list of literally everything that's coming out for the week. And slowly during the weekend, as we are figuring out what's for subscribers, what's for other pre-orders versus what's left on the shelf, when we finally have what's left on the shelf done, which will most likely be maybe tomorrow night, actually, but usually by Sunday, we can then start the math breakdown of how many graphic novels do we have left, how many toys do we have left, how many single issues, and figuring out the layout of what's going to go where. Dal is a lot more methodical in the way he does it. When he is clearing the spaces and has the wall empty, we've got arrival cards arrival backer cards that we put up that basically will have the name of each title on a card. So each book on the wall has a release backer card that you only see when we're sold out, and it basically says, hey, we're sold out of this issue. Why don't you pre-order so you don't miss it? But at the top of it, it has a removable sticker with the title, and that way we can reuse those over and over again. In fact, Dal doesn't even know this, but we have a whole new design coming, and it's going to be a slow rollout because we need to do some work for them before they can go out to make the stickers more removable. But they're on order, and they hopefully arrive next week. But yeah, it'll be a while before they're all in use. Honestly, having to make the title stickers for every title on the wall right now is a daunting task that I'm not looking forward to. But we use those cards to help us arrange the wall so we know what titles go where. And Dal is real good at saying, like, okay, Absolute Batman, we're going to give it 8 spots. So he puts the card in the 8th spot, so boom, those are all Absolute Batmans. And then from there, I literally just have them thrown on the shelf. In fact, for the last 2 weeks, I've said, here, Kate, spread these out on the wall, just so they're there. But I know, having gone through the list and done a quick rundown in my head of like, all right, this title gets 1 spot, this title gets 3, this title gets 2, and so I know how it's going to end up. Last week, my math was off by a tiny little bit, so the very last row, I thought we had enough for 2 shelves of catalogs, but instead I'd been a little bit more generous to some titles when laying them out on the wall. So I wound up only having a shelf and a half left of the catalogs. So the last half of one shelf, it went from X-Men to DC previews. And I don't care. And I can fill in more catalogs as we need it and condense that space. That's one of the most frustrating things, is the wall looks so good when it's done, but several of those spaces are just a single incentive variant cover that sells immediately first thing Wednesday morning. So you have to stack stacks a little bit in your favor. So if you know, for example, that you only have one of a specific variant for Exquisite Corpses, and you think it's going to be hot, and you want to give the A cover to Exquisite Corpses, you know what? Let's change it to Odin. No, let's not change it to Odin. What was it? There was a couple of books. It's rare that we have 1 in 50s on the shelf anymore, but when we do, there's usually a space for 1 in 25s, and maybe a 1 in 10s. But we don't stock a lot of 1 in 10s anymore because they're just not. No one's exciting. Sorry, just got a text from David Harper, and I just happened to look over at my phone, and now I'm trying to process what he said while also talking to you. In fact, knowing that a variant is going to sell out, and if I normally want to give the A cover 3 spots, let's say, I'll only give it 2, and I'll make those piles a little bit bigger, knowing that I'm going to immediately have a blank space to fill when that variant cover sells. So it's a cheat to be able to fill up that space immediately. But honestly, when you look at the photos on our social media pages of the new release wall, within the first 10 minutes of us being open on a Wednesday, the wall looks very different because of all this, like the small amount of incentive variant covers, just variant covers. A lot of the people, most of the people who are first in on a Wednesday are subscribers, but they also want to pick and choose other covers that they didn't subscribe for. So, as is the rule with most comic retailers, if people pre-order a specific variant cover, you think that that cover has a higher interest, so you order more. If people don't order it, you order less. So when the people that subscribe to variant covers regularly don't order that cover, you think no one's going to care. But they might care. They might just want to see it in person before they get it. So a lot of variant covers end quickly. We had someone, a regular or a former Wednesday regular who was in yesterday, who was saying that their hours changed and they're not going to be able to come in first thing on Wednesdays anymore. And we had said, yeah, but you're subscribers, so you'll be taken care of. You order the books you want, they'll be waiting for you. You don't have to hurry in. And they said, yeah, but I like to pick other covers off the shelf. And they're not going to be able to do that anymore. That honestly, for them, it just means you got to pay attention more to FOCs. But it also means that there are other covers that we may have wanted to order or would have ordered higher on had we seen the demand for it from more subscribers. But if they don't subscribe, I don't know. I'm not trying to make this a pitch into you need to sign up for things more. What do or don't, I don't care. But we're not going to be sad about you missing a cover that you had the option to pre-order and didn't pre-order. Yeah, I obviously want you to get the books you want, but I know retailers who rant and rave until they're blue in the face about people not subscribing, and I guess we're kind of like that, but you're never going to get those people to change those habits. Those habits are never changing. The same way that routinely subscribers come in to us on a Wednesday and come up to the counter and say, do I have anything this week? And they should know whether or not they have anything because we send out an email every Tuesday night or every Tuesday afternoon. Here's what you're getting tomorrow. And almost to a person, they say, no, I never check those. That doesn't make us feel good. It takes effort to do these things, but whatever. And we always say, all right, let's take a look. Well, obviously what I want to say is, hey, if you can't be bothered to check an email, I'm not going to check what's in your box. That's not fair, though. Yeah, not everybody engages in the process in the same way. And there's plenty of people that shop with us every week who don't want to subscribe, and that is A-okay. There's one person who has just said, I never want a pull box, and they have also never, ever complained about a book not being there. So they either buy it or don't. They've never said, oh, you're totally sold out of this. Can you get me blah, blah? No, they just accept it. And, that's their process. That's fine. It's fine because they don't make extra work for me. Anyway, so Heidi, what I'm trying to say is looking at the new release wall at the end of a day Tuesday and just knowing how much work it took to get there and just seeing it all right there, I really like the fact that we have this 16-foot new release section that, over the years we've changed how we display everything multiple times, and we used to just have the new releases mixed in on the regular wall. But this is a wide open area, 16 feet, 168 spaces is a lot of space to give. I can tell you it is a phenomenal pain to condense all those books back into the main wall every week, especially when you have a list of 10 to 16 new number ones. So that's 10 to 16 new spaces you need on your wall. And we don't have that kind of room every week. And we have to be pretty vicious with when we pull books off of the wall, like permanently off the wall. Sometimes a book goes, well, sooner than we'd rather it be, but we need the space. You need the space, you need the space. What can you do? Hope for a sellout or cheat if there's a book that's still going on, but you're just out of all the issues. Rather than have an empty backer card on the shelf, you pull it and worry about it when the next issue of that series comes out, or actually, I guess the week after that. That's when it's a problem, when it's got to find its way back on the comic wall. Then you have to worry about, where is this going to go? And last Monday, I'm like, all right, I'm tackling the big wall, the A to Z comic wall that leads basically from the register to the toy wall. And I moved every single comic on that wall and rearranged it, and I had everything done, and I was super happy with it. It looked good, it was neat, it was tight. Although, and also in doing it, as soon as I started dissecting the wall, we got busy, and people just were flocking to all the books I was moving as I was moving them for whatever reasons. That's just the way it goes. The section that you need to work on is where everybody wants to be. But people were buying books I had just made a new space for. I'm like, all right, we need one space for this book. Put it here. Oh, somebody just bought it. Okay, get rid of that space. Great. But the one mistake I had made was Excommunicated #1 had come in a bundle, and I had forgot to make a backer card for it for the new this week wall. So on Sunday, when I had pulled all the backer cards and made the stack of the new #1s, like Barbara Gordon Breakout, that needed a whole new space, I had forgot to make a space for Excommunicated. And I'm like, oh, man, you know what? There's no room in this wall. I don't want to fix it. I'm just going to pull Exploit. We have 2 copies of issue 2. I'm just going to pull Exploit right now. Oh, wait. Exploit 3 is coming out next week. All right. Let me redo it. Let me crash down a book that I'd given 2 spaces. Let me make it a tighter one, and then move 4 shelves worth of books to get another EX spot available. And it was done, but I can already tell you it's going to be a big pain next week, moving everything that's on the New This Week wall over. I did make allowances for Absolute Green Arrow. That is something that was already done, but yeah, there's going to be some interesting and Ultimate Reborn Impact. That's fine. There's room for that. I don't think I have a spot ready for Odin or for Zorro. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Hey, here's a fun little hack about our website, since I'm looking at it right now. If you ever want to know what the best sellers are for the week, when you look at our website, the front page, right underneath the slides where it says New This Week, and it says View All, like, for example, its first book is Absolute Green Arrow #1, cover A, and then Lobo #3, cover A, and then Punisher 4, and then Battle Beast 9, cover A. Those are listed in the order of sales. So those are the second best-selling book for us off the shelf this week is Lobo #3, cover A. The 5th highest-selling book is Absolute Green Arrow #1, cover B, the Gerald Perel variant, and we're already sold out of it. But it's still the 5th highest-selling book for the week. So yeah, it's a neat little, it's not a hack, but it's a neat little fun fact that if you want to see what books are selling the best, and it's, as you can tell, it's broken down by cover. So it doesn't just lump everything together. It's individual issues. But yeah, let's see if anything is a surprise. Honestly, Lobo being the second best, Punisher being #3 is a surprise. Let's see, these are 5 across. So Odin #1 is the 7th. It sold higher than Ultimate Impact Reborn. Deathstroke #3 clocks in at #9. Batwoman 3 clocks in at 12. Yet I can tell you, thus far over 2 issues, Batwoman is selling more than Deathstroke, but not for #3. End of Life #4, one of my personal favorites, clocks in at #12. Yeah, this is fun. This is fun to look at. And you can do that At your leisure. What is the worst part of my week, Heidi? Man, it changes day by day just from the stress of having everything, like when everything is starting over, it's so much work that needs to be done. And currently it's the things that I have to do that I don't fully understand. And it's a lot of the Sunday tasks. And also, since Sunday's a day I don't normally work, it's the start of a specific stretch of DAO tasks that I'm not used to, because I have my own things Friday and Saturday. But now a lot of the Sunday tasks are bleeding into those, just to give myself time to get it done. So Sundays as a whole at work. Thank you for that. The next one, let me close this Dark Horse email. Oh man. Let's click on this UPS update. Package is scheduled to deliver tomorrow. So Entertainment Earth 1, Entertainment Earth 2, PRH 1, PRH 2, Hachette. Oh, there's a Hachette order. That's a surprise. That's 1. And then another email has the three lunar reorders and the other reorders. I keep that alive because that just builds. Let's see this order. Do a power bomb. Swamp Thing. That's local pickup. That's nice. I'm gonna put that in that folder. Don't care about that. There's another UPS shipping notification. That is for the lunar reorder. Okay. Ugh, so many reorders tomorrow. And such a big order. Don't like it. Okay. I'm looking for, here we go. I don't know if I'm going to read the whole email. I don't know if I'm supposed to, because there's bits, but this comes from Andy, the owner of Secret Identity Comics in Chester, England. And Andy has a question about variant covers. As a retailer, the topic of variant covers is on my mind recently. The Superman Spider-Man Cover Fest was far, far too much in my opinion, there were 26 covers for each of those. In my shop, I run a weekly poll where customers get to vote on a different topic. Last week's question was, how many covers should a comic have? And there were 2 options. Option A, 1 to 3 covers. Option B, 4+ covers. The 1 to 3 camp was a clear winner with 73 votes to 16 for 4 or more. Andy, I can tell you that my vote would definitely be in the 1 to 3 cover area. Many customers told me they get choice paralysis. Many were fed up with nonsensically irrelevant covers, such as Spider-Punk, Magic the Gathering on the latest Moon Knight issue. I am so with you on that, especially when they're doing all these Magic card covers where the character on the Magic card has nothing to do with the title of the book. And that is incredibly frustrating and short-sighted. How hard can it be to match it up? And if you don't have a Moon Knight Magic card, then don't do a Moon Knight Magic card variant cover. It shouldn't be that hard. The character should match the cover, hands down. It used to be a thing that Marvel and DC would do a theme variant month. Well, one variant theme per month, and it would be, let's say, Adam Hughes covers, or full face covers, or Fantastic Four villain covers, right? Fine. But now they're doing multiple of those per month, and it's incredibly unnecessary. And I dare say that while there's a lot of our customers that enjoy going through the catalog and digital catalog and picking what covers they want to personally own, they would still have that ability if it was 1 to 3 covers versus 4 or more covers. And checking in so many extra covers really adds time to what we do. And I don't think it would hurt sales. I think if there were only 3 covers, the same people are picking those books because they're following those books. They would just pick the best of the 3 covers, or the one they like the most. They're not buying 5 covers because there's 5 covers. That being said, we do have some people that will buy every cover of a book. But nobody bought all 26 Superman, Spider-Man, or Spider-Man, Superman covers. No one did that. And we didn't even offer sets like that. I do appreciate that both of the publishers seem to be doing away with a lot of the incentive variants And we had, in fact, stopped ordering a lot of incentive variants, even though we were qualifying for them, because they just stopped selling. Especially since we just have a standard formula that we use to determine the prices of, if it's a 1 in 10, it's $7.99. If it's a 1 in 25, it's $15. If it's a 1 in 50, it's $30. That kind of there you go. Boom, boom, boom. It may change if it's like a $10 book, then we'll obviously, a $10 1 in 10 will not be $7.99. There'll be concessions made based on the cover price. But yeah, Andy, I'm absolutely with you. I've always thought there's too many covers. I do know a lot of creators make their living just doing variant covers. I think too many of the variant covers don't really reflect what's going on in the book. I know that's kind of the point sometimes, but I've also kind of stopped complaining about variant covers because it is never a thing that's going to change. It's only going to change if they stop selling. And it's only going to stop selling if stores stop buying. And we're not going to stop buying if our customers keep asking for them, that kind of a thing. But I trust me, I am with you. Also, Andy, can I just say that I am so jealous of your floors. Your floors look amazing. They look like white marble. And I would be afraid of how dirty those would get all the time. In fact, I literally just bought a new vacuum cleaner for the store this week. We have two vacuums. We have an industrial Auric that we use just for flat, wide open spaces. But we also have now a smaller Shark that has more maneuverability of the head and the attachments and, the hoses and the wands and those kind of things. In the early days of Challengers, we would go through a vacuum cleaner a year, basically. And then we just started buying really cheap ones, knowing that they were going to die anyway. But then we looked into what your big box stores use to clean, and that's why we bought the Auric we bought. And it's still a bag. Everything else is a canister, but it's still a bag system. And when I was complaining about the old vacuum, the wanded vacuum we had starting to die, Kate had said, yeah, they're both starting to die. I'm like, well, the other one probably just needs his bag changed. And I took the bag out, and I kid you not, the bag weighed like 15 pounds. It was so full of just, dirt and dust and junk, and it's such a messy job changing that bag. In fact, I had to buy an attachment that you snap inside the zippered pouch, and it hooks into the handle to be able to hold the bag in place. Because there's like a flaw in some of these Aurics that don't, because you're supposed to just it's a paper bag that holds all the debris from the vacuum, and it's a thick cardboard rectangle with a hole cut in it that you attach with. It's got a rubber seal to it. You just push that onto the hose from the inside. That's all the dust gets sucked up through the rollers and then up this tube and into the bag. Well, the more weight that got in the bag would just pull off of the hole attachment. So somebody had made a third party, like 3D printed, hinged clasp that you slide the cardboard face into and snap it on to hold it in place. So that was like an additional expense from this vacuum. But this Auric has lasted us for years, and it's the best one for salt, winter salt, and most dirt and debris. It just can't do corners and under shelves, and it doesn't have any attachments. So this new Shark has one wand and one fabric attachment, which we'll probably never use, the fabric one. But just something with a hose, and it's got a detachable canister. I have a Shark here at my home that I use. Most of my vacuums are hand-me-downs. I've been lucky enough to get hand-me-downs from my siblings all the time, and this Shark was one that came from George. But we do have a much cheaper Dirt Devil that I inherited from my dad. I bought for my dad, but after he passed, I have it back, and it lives in a closet waiting to be called up to the big leagues. And I almost this time said, well, I'll just bring my shark to the store and then start using the Dirt Devil at home. But then realized that I like the shark too much and don't want it to die at the store. So we have a different shark there now. But yeah, so Andy, I stalked your store via Google Earth and Google Maps, and saw the photos from the inside. It looks clean. I really love the little street that it's on, and I don't mean to say little as a pejorative, but I love that you've got, a smash burger place there. Like you get a sandwich place right next door. You got a smash burger place. You got a chicken shop down the block. There's kind of everything I would want around my store, right around your store, except there's no record store that I could see. But there's like a piercing place, and I assume does tattoos as well. And it looks like it's pretty residential across the street. I'm not entirely sure, but yes, I did look up secretidentitycomics.com, and I used the map, and I literally just clicked up and down the neighborhood just to get the feel for it, because I love English towns. I love towns in Britain and the UK. Definitely love towns in Ireland. And I'm sure you would have noticed specifically, but other people, the cold open to this very podcast was from this week's Life Hacks / midweek chart from Sunday evening on BBC Radio 1. And it's weird to call it a midweek chart, and this is a little bit of a rant, but the official chart, the Britain's main music chart, is done on BBC Radio 1 on Fridays, starting at 2 o'clock? It starts at 10 o'clock. It goes from 10 to 11:45 our time. So no, I'm sorry, it's 4. It's 4 o'clock your time. 4 p.m. to 5:45 is the official chart for the week. But then they do it again at 1 o'clock on Sundays, and like, hey, here's how the chart is shaping up for this week. Like, it's been 2 days. But anyway, I was making Kate listen to Life Hacks in the shop on Sundays. It is a self-help radio program that is only on Sundays, our time, from 11 to 1. And one of the hosts is Lauren Layfield, who you may recognize from the We're Just Innocent Men meme. She was the not puppet dog of the two voices. I was going to say people, but they're both not people. From the two characters involved, Lauren and Hacker T-Dog. She was obviously the Lauren part. And it's a music show as well, but they also have like topics they talk about, things like that. And then in their third hour of their show, they do the official chart midweek. So at the start of the official chart midweek, which was 1 o'clock? I can't remember if it's 12 or 1 our time. I jokingly said to Kate, I'm like, Kate, if you want to use my WhatsApp app to text in a question to Life Hacks, they'll answer it for you. And she declined, but then I just shot in a message that we were listening in the store. And I got back what you heard. And this is still non-comic related, but for me to get that audio clip was such an ordeal, because BBC Sounds, the app that I used to use to listen to all of my BBC radio listening, is no longer available in America. Due to music rights, they shut it down. And while there are other apps you can listen to the shows on, they're all live only. BBC Sounds, you can go back and listen to older shows, you can pause, you can rewind, and that is how I was able to always record things in the past. But I had to go through many steps to be able to find that clip And honestly, for the number of shout outs I've had over the years, this is one I'm like, oh man, they're specifically talking about the store. They don't name it because I didn't name it, but also there's a brand policy rule on BBC Radio. You don't usually mention brands, or if you do, you quickly have to say other brands are available. So if I ever mention that I'm in a comic shop, I never say what the name of the shop is. After that segment, I did reply back and send them photos of the store just to give them an idea for it. Because as you could tell, they were a little bit surprised at the existence of comic stores and assumed it was more of an American thing. But in fact, there are many, many great stores in England, in Ireland, in the UK, in Europe, all over the world, and in their very city as well. Plenty in their very city. So that was super fun. I was happy that happened, and it again took me way too long to get to that, but I found it. Going back to Secret Identity Comics in Chester, England, a store looks great. Andy, how is it? How long have you been in? I'm not sure. Your store looks very, very clean, and your brother had been in Challengers recently, and I do remember a tall Brit who was in last week. So thank you for sending your brother in. I hope I was nice to him. I usually play the game with people from out of town as to where they're from and where they shop. I don't think I did it with your brother, and I also would have had no clue where he shopped if he said Chester, England. But now, Andy, I know Secret Identity Comics is in Chester, and not only do I know it, I've seen it. I've seen photos, and I've virtually gone up and down the block. Andy, have you ever had a spice bag? That is a question that is, I know a spice bag is not traditionally an English thing, but just curious if you've had one or not. And I also didn't notice a Chinese food place near you or an Indian food place. There might have been an Indian one further down. I can't remember. Anyway, thank you for the question. Congrats on the shop. I like your question idea. I like your the topic idea of having a question. Also, I think that getting near 100 answers for a poll is pretty great. I can tell you every time we do a poll, we get fewer responses than we expect, and it's almost always a 50-50 split. So we stopped doing polls. And yeah, so I was gonna go through more about what it takes to set the store up each week, and basically all of the tasks that I'm doing for DAO. Not for DAO. I'm doing it for me as much as for DAO. For the DAO, as much what the tasks that DAO normally does that I'm doing, that I'm learning how to do for the first time. I was gonna do a rundown of that, but I don't know. For a podcast that's pretty inside baseball, I feel that's really inside baseball. Instead, I will tell you that I just finished reading the preview of The Beast of BORIKEN, which I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's a new Dark Horse book, but it spins out of a James Tynion universe. Oh man, I forget. Is it Weird Tales universe? I literally closed the link right before I started recording. And it's good. I liked it a lot. It is a book about, oh man, I had the specific wording down, and then I left that email open specifically for that. But man, I really enjoyed those too. Did I just delete that email, or did I just close that email? Well, it's not in my trash, and it was fairly new. Nope, those are all too old. Ugh, come on, what'd I do with it? Now I'm doing the thing that I hate that when Al does it, is when he's looking something up on his phone and he's pausing, he's going, making noises as he's doing. That's Mad Cave. That's IDW. Oh, wait. Nope. There's a new IDW crime book called Killer Influences. There was not a PDF, so I did not have a chance to read that. It is not this Charlie XCX. You're invited to attend Charlie XCX SS26. It's not that one. It was a PRH. Okay, it was PRH email. from Dark Horse. No, that's still arriving today. Yeah, that's from today still. How far back can we go? Okay, good enough. Good enough. I found the email from Tiny Onion instead, which is the same thing. Beast of BORIKEN. It is a Dark Horse miniseries from the True Weird series. That's the phrase I couldn't remember. True Weird series. It is co-created, written by Giulio Anta, and the co-created and drawn by Daniel Irizarry from Cemetery Kids Don't Die. It's a 5-issue miniseries about the colonization through the lens of a chupacabra, who is not terribly prevalent in the first issue, used sparingly, but I think used very well. And this is perfect for people from read Department of Truth, Blue Book, or Let This One Be a Devil. All James Tynion books, of course, because this is a Tiny Onion production. Oh, you know what? In the preview that I read, there's a backup story by Justin Jordan and Chicago's own Tony Akins. Tony Akins, who is not terribly far from where I am sitting right now. I don't mean he's in my house. I mean he lives further south of me in the city. But that wasn't in the preview. But I'll give you the description. Also, there's an accent over the E, so I don't know if my instinct is to say BORIKEN, but I think it's just BORIKEN because there's just a K-E-N at the end. Anyway, in contemporary Puerto Rico, Loli Flores is a fierce activist fighting the overdevelopment of the island by outside investors. When a groundbreaking ceremony is violently interrupted by a supernatural force, Loli discovers that the stories of El Chupacabra are not just echoes from the past, but a brutal protector of generations extending back to the indigenous people of the island. As Loli uncovers the horrors firsthand, El Chupacabra is on a parallel path with elemental destruction left in its wake. Also, I don't know if I'm saying Loli correctly. It could be Loli. I don't know. But there's more. This issue includes an all-new True Weird story by Justin Jordan and Tony Akins. Beast of BORIKEN #1. It is out July 1st, so it has already been solicited. I like it. It's 5 issues. I think it is worth putting on your list right now. So go and do that. And also, I am in the middle. Oh man, I have no idea what this book is called. I am literally on page, I don't know what page this is. This PDF doesn't say. Oof. And there's no covers, right? Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these Dark Horse cover, or all PDFs, are just the inner story. They don't have the full, like, mostly don't have the covers or back covers. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, they don't. Here we go. I found it. You're welcome. Star-Crossed. Okay, it's a new Mark Miller series. That's it. It's called Star-Crossed. It's by Mark Miller and Corrado Mastantuono. So far, it is all right. I like the art. The art fits. Yeah, I'm in the middle of it, so I can't give it thumbs up yet or not. The 2 greatest thieves in the universe have a price on their head, and every single bounty hunter alive is out to collect it. Oh, this is part of Sharky the Bounty Hunter universe and Space Bandits. Oh, okay. So these are pre-existing characters or pre-existing worlds. Jury's still out on this. I'm not done reading it, but yeah, definitely go back and check out Beast of BORIKEN. And I'll be back next week. Will anybody be with me? I don't know. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. And help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.